from March till this point is now slowly being broken. So historically speaking, RSI breaks it, retest it, and bounce. That's where the price breaks through a resistance. So if XRP needs to do that, then we are arguing that crypto market as a whole is about to go higher. Do you think that's the case after watching this Bitcoin chart? Do you think that's the case after watching the entire altcoin segment or removing the ether? It kind of gives you an idea because the news, the narrative is taking you to the right direction. It's not only about the ether, its utility, and the ETF, but also Solana ETF, but also XRP ETP. So you're actually watching a lot of different exchange traded products for the crypto. The demand is increasing. What would whales do as the retail is entering this market? Welcome to the scientific investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. The trend lines which we have plotted here is valid based on the history. You zoom out as much as you want, but you will watch the same. On a 3-day chart, your resistance for the macro run up would be somewhat like this, where the RSI can reach around 60 on a 3-day chart. On a micro level, the RSI is arguing the fact that it is bouncing off from a trend line which started Jan 2024. So it's been 6 months since the price action is building this. Price going down, RSI going up. The trend line formation shows bullish divergence. And not only that, if you do take it from March till this point, you have a falling wedge which is right now trying to break to the upside. We had something similar before. We've seen that. We went through that phase. It was not easy for sure. But if you do look at the measured move and what XRP did after the breakout, it gives us a clear example of what we should be looking for. The total move predicted by the market was around 73, but the news just made it way bigger than that. Now, let's just be conservative. Let's argue that after the breakout, you're going to have a resistance which is going to be close to that same measured move, which will bring the price close to 0.7, 0.72 range. Now, the measured move is kind of 0.72, but I would say 0.7 itself will be a trend line resistance zone. Any bounce from the current range for XRP also argues the point the market as a whole is about to trend higher, because XRP as an asset will not trend higher when the market as a whole is going down, and XRP is starting to show you macro reversal structure. So on a weekly chart, XRP right now shows you a candle close is bullish hammer. That's bullish. The next candle is now bullish engulfing candle. Even though the price didn't do magical moves, it's still showing you a bullish structure. Now, say if you want to argue the point on a Bitcoin chart with XRP. So you go back, and historically speaking, when you do zoom out and look at the divergence at the rate of what we're watching now, we'll actually have to agree on the bullish stance which the market is showing you. The market has shown this very rarely, And whenever we got such a divergence, the results were great. Now, it's not just that, but it's also if you think this asset has utility and if you believe that buy low, sell high works, then this is the lowest it can go. So that's against Bitcoin. So the argument here is all coins need to run up for sure, but Bitcoin may not have that momentum, which means the Bitcoin dominance should lead us further. So if you take Bitcoin dominance to understand what it shows, right now when you go inside that price action, the daily did close negative. 3-4 days of slow grind to the upside, and then one candle erasing almost 3 days of that grind. That means buyers are not strong, or the capital moving into Bitcoin is not heavy. But what is heavy is the altcoin market attracting more capital. And this is not happening while the entire altcoin market is popping through the roof. It is happening while the market is choppy. You don't see a lot of assets popping through. You're watching some of them trying to break through for sure, but majority of the market is still below 10% level. And that's the first 100, the next 100. And you have very rare assets which are breaking through them. But even for those, say Alchemy Pay, you already got the charts before the breakout in the SI family. We were going through a lot of these assets which are right now starting to push higher. So if you want to get those charts, be in the SI family where 1,200 plus members are readily there. Now, jumping back into the market, the thought process of where the volume is going to be important. The thought process of where the volume is moving out is also important. So now, the news and the narrative here, which the market is giving you to digest, is that, yeah, we are all talking about the most recent news. Cross-border payments, CBDCs, it's all coming together. Smart contract ecosystem is not going to go away. It is going to here, it is going to stay here, and something like this from Grayscale directly highlights they have an interest in that ecosystem, maybe directly in the price. But then we see there are other ETFs coming out, and that's Solana. So we already knew, like the FTX guys who were kind of giving you the narrative of buy this, pop, all those hype. Now they are backing Solana. I mean, that creates some massive doubts for me. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but when you do take Solana on a macro, and then you need to ask yourself, what do you see here? Because charts usually don't lie. The markets and the news, media and outlets may do that. So right now you're watching, there was a negative divergence formed, which was clear, and it was on a weekly. Now that the price action is forming a hidden bullish divergence, I would argue like, okay, something is turning for sure. You're watching this happening right in front of you. But if you do not see the price breaking the range of 80 billion in the market cap, or in price terms, if Solana price doesn't break above 183, that's still negative. Because you can still trend lower by staying here for some time. If you don't remember those, you can actually go back, say, pick which one? Luna. It's the best example. There was a time when, we were putting the argument of like, guys, watch it. It doesn't look good. But then not everyone was on the same page. We had negative divergence. The price stayed there for some time, which created a ton of doubt. And those who called out the negative divergence were considered lunatics at that time by Luna guys, who were the real lunatics. Right now, if you look at the call, that was accurate, right? After that negative divergence, the price dropped massively. Now, there is a lot of different assets in the market which shows you something like that. But when you do run through the market and try to look at a lot of these different assets, and you're on a macro, you're looking at them on the perspective of where they are. And you can actually see that the whales are using this narrative to flush a lot of retail, even though on the macro it's still starting to trend higher with higher highs, higher low structure. So the market is now filled with a ton of these institutions, the whales, which will make things complex. And that is where the role of you putting more time in the market is important, and you learning what the market is showing you is important. If you do take the weekly chart of Bitcoin, the last weekly candle close informs us that buyers are entering at this support. But what do we need? We need a continuation candle. Now that can be after 2 weeks. We've seen that. You can remain choppy for a couple of weeks. We have seen that. But that does not change the fact that historically speaking, you kind of flirt with the moving average and then break higher. So you remain below the moving average, and it was 3 weeks last time. If that's true, then we are watching something similar. Why? Because we have the negative divergence. Then the hidden bullish divergence came in. We had the negative divergence. Then the hidden bullish divergence came in. So this price action happened after the hidden bullish divergence. So Bitcoin kind of argues that point. Now say you go on the 3-day chart, the weekly chart, whichever you like. You're watching the momentum is fading to the upside and the momentum to the downside is starting to appear. What do I mean? Let's remove this. Bitcoin dominance on a 3-day shows you the argument that you're putting in lower lows. Now, yeah, you got a wick to the upside, but the low which this bounces off from makes a lot of difference. If it bounces off from here, that's a different story. And if that breaks below 53.68, that's a different story. At that point, you're trending lower with 100% certainty. The trouble is right now people are trying to gauge the market to bet against it, to bet with it, depending on whether you're a bull on this market or bear. But if you go back all the time in history, weekly candle closing below the moving average, 21-day moving average on Bitcoin dominance weekly chart, it has been very good for the altcoin markets. Whether you go all the way back to 2015, 2016, 2017, it doesn't matter. Historically speaking, when the dominance here is slowing down, that is where you get a great time for those who are riding altcoin. And not just altcoins, because there would be a lot of different segments running up. Meme coins popping through the roof, utility coins slowing down initially, then all of a sudden you'll watch the medium and large caps popping. So right now you will be focused, yes, on the micro to small cap coins. But then immediately you will start observing some of them starting to pop, and it's increasing in the market capitalization. The risk increases, people shift their money into best assets where your risk is lower. So that's where you're coming back to Ether, that's where you're coming back to XRP. Whether we like it or not, we should be following the market. The market kind of shows you Ether is also trying to break higher. A break to the upside here, makes a lot of difference. Say last time this was your trend line in Ether on a daily chart. The moment you broke that to the upside, retested and bounced, the price went from 3,000 all the way up to $4,000. So there was a $1,000 movement in Ether with last breakout. Now let's look at the scenario before that. It would look somewhat like this. You had a fake out for sure, but the actual breakout did bring the starting point of this run. We started from 2,300. We went all the way above 4,000. So right now you're getting very close to such a scenario. Say you don't trust the daily. You don't trust the whales. I wouldn't complain. I will be on the same boat. I don't trust these whales. But then if I'm looking at the trend line support for the RSI on the weekly, I would argue we're getting closer to the bottom. We're not bouncing back off for sure, but that can be because the monthly is still bullish. And a retracement 2-candle pattern can come in here. The price can come back to $3,000. It's not a surprise and it wouldn't invalidate anything. It would just show you something like this. You go up, retrace back, and then push higher. You go up, retrace back, and push higher. That can be a beautiful scenario here in the market. So if you're not prepared, you will be surprised when this Bitcoin dominance breaks lower and the altcoin market takes off. So if you want to stay updated, be a part of the SI family. And if you received value for your time, smash that like button for me. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.